This has been a morning already.
Yes.
I usually write my notes and then I rewrite them just for my own sake, which I did. But I had my American Standard Bible that I had specifically wanted to speak out of. And I looked down and somehow it snuck back home. So that's why the panic was over here as I ran to try to see if there was an American Standard in there, and there was not. So we're going to change a few things there because I don't like what they said, but anyway, I had it marked the way I wanted it marked. I guess it wasn't the way it should have been marked, but anyway, kind of a unique morning. There's going to be several things happening this morning. I was smart enough this time to speak before the ladies spoke. So give me credit for that, if nothing else, okay? So we're excited about that. But anyway, there's several portions that we're going to have today. So it's going to be different today, but the Father's still here. There's many topics, but he will accomplish what he's decided to accomplish. If he can do it through a donkey, he can do it through. There you go. Does anyone know that these are interesting times today? Sometimes we think that things have never been like this before. We've never walked through this, but then, our memory sometimes is short. And so if you think about that and you reflect on your life, and most of us in here have had a relatively long life to this point, a lot longer than many people. So we're blessed in that. But we have experiences, and sometimes we forget about those for a season. But as I was thinking about this, what I was going to talk about today, thinking about how unique it is now. But think about how it was from the garden. Here's a man and a woman that walked with God continuously almost. Every day. They walked in the garden. They talked. They had fellowship. They were in unity with one another. That relationship would be like, not unbelievable, that's not the right word, but it would be so awesome. And then to think of what happened. That just became severed, just like cutting off your head, or your arm, or your body, or whatever. Just think what that couple went through. And we're worried today about what we're worried about. Think about the time that God went silent. There was nothing. There was no word. The people had a certain amount of the word. They were understanding. They had relationships, and all of a sudden there's nothing. That was a period of time that would be full of anguish. So as we look around today and we think, it can't get any worse. This is the worst it's ever been. No. In the midst of this can be good days. And I think it is in that. In days gone by, over a period of time, God's given me a word. And I can't tell you how it got here or how it got into my being, but it did. And once upon a time, it was seasons. Everything I saw was a season. I just related to everything. God is big into parables. He spoke to the disciples in parables. So, again, every time I saw something, I thought of a season. Okay, I'm going through a season. We went through some awesome seasons with young people, young couples. And then those seasons have ended for a period of time. I only hope for a period. And so you wonder, what's going on? And then here just I think a few months ago or whatever, everything I saw said now. I'm thinking, now what? Now what? So Murray's even, had something the other day. He'd come across something that he wanted me to read, and it was about now. And so, walking the walk, I'm thinking, okay, I know it's going to be revealed. Is it going to be today, tomorrow, next week, next year? I don't know. But I think it's starting to be revealed now. And I think the word is prayer. What I see now, when I hear people talking, this, that, and other, even people that maybe you wouldn't consider a prayerful kind of person, so to speak. I don't know what the word I'd be using, but the word prayer comes up. And so it's just constant. I think now God has called us to a place, and he said, okay, everything's been going pretty good. 60s weren't bad, 70s weren't bad, 80s there was a problem or two. We did good. We did all right. 90s we got through that, in the 2000 or whatever. But now there's another storm. Now there's another feeling of helplessness. Now there's another season of chaos. Does anyone have an answer? Is anyone willing to stand up and say, this is right, this is wrong? I'm not being ugly about it, but this is right and this is wrong. There's no gray area in some of these places. Who's that going to be? Are we doing it? It's going to have to, it doesn't have to. I would think it happens on an individual basis first. I think it's God speaking to us individually. He's always been talking, except for a period of time. But we're not listening. Or we're not hearing because we've got so much stuff. We've had it pretty good. We've had it pretty good for a long, long time. Yes, there's problems. There's always been problems. Whether it's the beginning of the building of the nation of the United States, from here, since then. But I think it's coming to the point that he's saying, take care of your own life now first. Get to know me, and then reach out from there. And I think we're sometimes hesitant about that. What do I know? Whatever. I talked to a young man yesterday. He's a hunter. He's a friend of my oldest son. And he's all man. And he's got children. They live in Louisiana and all that. And he killed a very nice, he harvested, delete that kill. He harvested a nice buck over the weekend. And he was so proud of that and all that kind of stuff. But from that, he saw the blessing that he received. He'd been hunting many, many years. And then it got into situations that he shared with me about a young man that he was kind of tutoring, so to speak, caring for him, spending time with him. And then the young man made a bad decision. He left to go somewhere at about 2 o'clock in the morning because he wanted to see a friend show an animal the next day at a stock show. And it was about an 8-hour drive, starting at 2 o'clock in the morning. You're young, you can do it, you can conquer everything. Sometimes you can't conquer sleep. Sometimes we think we have. But anyway, he shared with that, and through that, he started opening up his heart about what he's to do. It's an action for him now. That has sprung him. I'm not saying he wasn't doing something before, but now he's got a freshness about him, and he wants to invest in young people in the way he's been doing it, plus. He wants to share life. He wants to share what's important. He wants to share relationships with the Heavenly Father. You think that wasn't exciting? Here's all these people. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
You know, he wants to share something more than a skill, whatever. He wants to share life. And he'll make a difference. He will make a difference. And that's what we're called to do. We're called to make a difference. And some of us haven't been listening very well. But I think we're in that season. Again, we've gone from seasons to now, and I think it's prayer. I don't think we're going to get everything, we're not going to get everything accomplished anyway, but I don't think we're going to be fulfilled and get things accomplished if we don't share the true life of Jesus Christ with one another and out there, wherever we are. So I think this is a good thing. I think this is a thing that I believe it's real. I know it's real, but I think that's the now. I think that's the now. You know, just a new beginning. I think it's okay. You've got to go into action. You can do these things, but knowing what to do, I think we can find out how to do things and when to do things if we'll but listen. You know, God speaks in many, many ways. Sometimes, I thought about this word, I didn't know which word to use, not always, but sometimes or whatever, but anyway. God speaks in parables, and he shows something physically. And these guys that he walked with for this period of time, he shared things with them, and I don't know what they heard, but so much of the time they didn't hear. They said, "What are you talking about?" And we're going to talk about communion in a minute, and then, you know, these guys have communion with Jesus Christ, and then what do they do immediately afterwards? Where am I going to sit? Where am I going to sit? Hey, you've been standing, walking, sitting, lying, eating with the Son of God. But it's not about us, it's about him. But it's about him speaking, and it's about us hearing, and it's about us responding to that. However, whether it's through prayer, whether it's through encouragement, whether it's speaking, not speaking, whatever it is, giving. The Father is speaking pretty loudly right now, I believe. Whatever that means. But I believe we need to know where we stand and who we stand with, who stands with us. And it's a good season. It's hard. It can be hard. It can be painful. But it's just kind of like childbirth. I've never given birth to a child yet. And you talk to some women, and they said, "I'll never do that again," and guess what? They do it again. Because they know the fruit. They know the fruit. And the fruit's what's important. So I just want to encourage us. Me. You know, this is all about me right now. It's me. And I don't mean that ugly. I mean, this is what he's saying to me. But I believe that prayer is the only way. The only way with the mindset of American people, and probably people of the world, but more especially I'm talking about us, that we've got to change our mindset and be willing to speak up, be willing to encourage, be willing to sacrifice, be willing to be usable in such a way that things can change. Father cares. He has a plan and a purpose, and he doesn't want people to die and go to hell. He doesn't like fighting. He gave all he had. He gave his only son that we might have life. We might have life abundantly. We've got a lot of abundance, but sometimes we don't have a life to go with the abundance. And I think he's trying to get, I believe he's trying to get our attention to say, hey, it's not about you, it's not about me. It's about the Father. You know, this many people, there's been all kinds of fathers before us. But there's been one perfect Father. And he's still alive. He's still on the throne. You know, you can look at your earthly father and there's probably things that you could say, he was the best whatever. When you were a little child and you ran up to him and he picked you up and all that kind of stuff, it was probably the biggest thrill that you could possibly have. But with that, there came some other things. As good, quote, as good as he was or as bad as he was, depends on which way he was. Even in the worst, it was probably good. It wasn't godly, but it was good. So there's things that we have been given. We've been given glimpses of the Father, but we need better glasses. We need a better way to see the Father, who the Father has been, is, and forever will be. Because it's about him. It's about him. It's not about me. It's not about what I've accomplished, what I'm going to accomplish, what do I want to accomplish. It's not important if I'm not obedient to what he's called me to be. If I'm not listening. And in our society, it's so hard to listen when there's so much talk. There's so much negativism. There's so much, woe is me. We don't know what woe is. I don't want to know that the woe that some of our forefathers had walked through. I don't want that. But the Father doesn't want that for us. But sometimes there's consequences. So I just want to encourage us to listen. To listen. So much of the time we feel like we have to be in a crowd, whether it's a little bitty crowd or whatever. But being alone is not always bad. Because the Lord does not speak, normally does not speak loudly. And if there's 4 or 5 of us together, he can speak through that, but sometimes we're so busy trying to do this that we don't do that. So I just want to encourage us to listen, look, be obedient, because again, there's so many ways he speaks. And he's talking all the time. He's talking. He loves his kids. He's got purpose for us. He's got a plan for us. And we're too busy. I'm thankful for the people that he's placed around me. I'm thankful for the time and space that he put me in. The time. You know, I've got 2 brothers that left way too early. I've outlived, age-wise, I've outlived both of them. And so you wonder why.
I don't know why. He's not through. I know that. I don't know where we go from here in the ways, but God's got a purpose and a plan for us. So I just want to encourage us, me, y'all, everybody, just listen and respond. He is speaking. He is wanting you to hear. He's wanting me to hear. I'm thankful for that. I'm a blessed man. Is everything perfect? No, it never will be until then it will be. And I can't say that I'm striving for that, but I'm hopefully going that direction. And he's patient with me. He's patient with you. He cares. He's not going anywhere. He's on the throne. He's listening to our cries. He's listening to our heart's desire. He wants to fulfill us. What else I left off? Oh, just thinking about Lazarus. You know, he was a good friend of Jesus's. And Lazarus died. And Jesus just kind of kept on walking. He didn't run. He didn't catch the bus. He didn't catch an airplane to get to Lazarus. Even though word got to him that Lazarus is sick and he's dying and you need to come and heal him. That wasn't the plan. So, Jesus kept on doing what he was told to do. And when he got there, you know, he got to exhibit love. He got to exhibit fulfillment. He got to exhibit a miracle. He got to show that, hey, my Father's a Father. I'm a messenger for the Father. I am part Father. He didn't say that, but he is. So he accomplished a lot by waiting. Sometimes we don't wait. We just run on, try to go through the door. And the door is it's not time for it to be open. But anyway, Jesus exhibited everything that his Heavenly Father is. There's a lot of qualities here that need to be exercised. If you don't exercise, in the physical, you know what happens if you don't exercise. If you don't keep moving, if you don't do. And I'm not saying God's saying do, all that kind of stuff. I'm not saying that. God's got a purpose. He's got us a walk that he's given us. And we need to know where that walk is and how that walk walks out. So I think I'm excited. I know I'm excited that I believe that's the word that I hear now. And I truly believe there's no way that anything godly is going to come out of this world without prayer. Without asking the Father for wisdom and being willing to stand in that wisdom and being willing to stand and say yes or no. If a father says yes all the time on the earth, we pay for it. The word says he disciplines those he loves. Ouch. Sometimes over there. Oh. Again, it's about him. It's not about us. Now, I'm going to turn it over to the ladies because they've got much to share, and I'm excited about this. and each one of them has 30 minutes. And then
Y'all gonna be disappointed.